Hi guys, welcome to the Challenge Sluggers Blue for your CAT VRC preparation. I'm Anupam Mishra and I'll provide a more detailed introduction of the channel as well as myself towards the end of the video for those of you who might be watching this for the first time, for who might be watching any of my sessions for the first time. And for now, I'd like to just jump right into the topic at hand here. Okay, so like the query that I keep getting, especially at this point of the year, every year, that so can we would it be rather practical to altogether skip grammar preparation for that, right? So yeah, so let's get into that. Okay, so let's start with having a look at the question split, the question type split of the verbal and logical ability section of your XAT exam. XAT labels its English section as verbal and logical ability. Now, one thing that has been consistent for this section in the XAT exam in the last 3 to 4 years is the number of questions that are featured in this section, right? There have always been around 26 questions. And from among these 26 questions, majority of them are from the reading comprehension question type, including that also includes the poem RCs. And then you have your critical reasoning question types, strengthen, weaken, inference, which of the following can be concluded, and then deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and all of that. So I put all of those questions into the critical reasoning umbrella. You have almost around 4 to 6 questions which are from this question type, and then you have your parajumbles, right? Parajumbles again on a more consistent basis. There are usually two parajumbles that you might encounter in your XAT exam, and again you have options available here. So these might be a tad bit easier than your CAT parajumbles. Finally, you have your a couple of vocabulary questions, more or less, and a couple of grammar questions. So that's your question split, guys. Okay, and that's a prevailing notion that exists among aspirants and students, and in fact, the whole test prep community, that the question types such as it is more prudent to invest your time, energy, and efforts to work on question types such as critical reasoning, parajumbles, and reading comprehension than on the question types of grammar and vocabulary. Okay, and I to a good extent I agree with that argument. Okay, I agree with that proposition, because even I believe that when it comes to these three question types, I would regard them as more skill based. Okay, as more skill based as opposed to grammar and vocabulary, which I would consider more as information based. Okay, so not in the absolute sense. Obviously, there is logic and there are methods involved to solve grammar and vocabulary questions, but at least in a relative sense. Now, what do I mean by skill based question type and information based question type? Skill based question types are, guys, the question types where the number of parameters and factors that you need to work on, and the knowledge domain that you need to work on is limited. Okay, and if you work on them, if you ensure that your skill so far as those parameters and factors are concerned are on point, it will reflect in your performance. For example, let's say in case of critical reasoning questions, well, you need to know what a premise is, what an assumption is, what an inference is, what are conclusions, how to strengthen an argument, how can you weaken an argument, what is deductive reasoning, what is inductive reasoning, and so on and so forth, right? But these number of concepts that you have to work on and improve your skills with respect to are limited in nature. And if you improve your skills across these, and it should definitely reflect in your performance as well. Fair. Same applies for parajumble, same applies for your reading comprehension question types. Again, the number of skills and parameters and factors that are involved here that you need to work on are limited. And hence, you'll be able to see a more ready improvement. You'll be able to see improvements on a more immediate basis if you try to work on, if you invest your time in these question types, in the skill-based question types. However, in case of vocabulary and grammar, these are question types which are more information based. Now, I do agree that, of course, well, if you have done your preparation homework in terms of etymology, like if you have gone through the word power BDC book, and if you have done a fair amount of work and preparation with respect to etymology, you will be in a better position to decipher the meaning of a word that you might encounter even for the first time. Yes, fair enough. But still, even nevertheless, your performance in vocabulary will still be dependent on the kind of vocabulary bank, or the kind of knowledge base you have in terms of the number of words you already know. Maybe via your preparation in the last year, or maybe via your exposure to the English language in general in the past. So it is again going to be a lot more based on the information that you already have about all the vocabulary that there is, right? and it is not limited. There's so many words there. Similarly for grammar, again, that generally tests you on the formal rules of on formal usage of the English language, and we are well versed with the informal usage, right? And when it comes to the formal usage, the number of rules and grammatical rules and potential grammatical errors involved is again a huge number, right? It's a very vast topic. So again, it is not limited there. So again, like you won't be able to see an improvement as immediate in case of grammar and vocab as in case of these other topics. So unless you already have a good background here, unless you already have a good exposure here, you're already well versed with these, right? So obviously that's the reason why people consider grammar and vocabulary to be a low ROI option. You know, like for example, if you just take the case of grammar, the number of marks that the numerator side, right, of the ROI is like there's not much to lose. You just gain 2 marks, and if you don't do it, you just lose 2 marks. But on the other hand, like that amount of time that you have to invest could be huge, right? It being a very vast topic and everything. So that's how the argument goes. And as I said, to a good extent, I agree so far as relative selection between these two question types is concerned. But beyond a certain point, certainly this selection, instead of being just relative, becomes more absolute. Okay, gradually students start shifting from this argument of, okay, let's better spend our time on CR questions, parajimbal questions and reading comprehension questions, to an argument which is more like, okay, grammar to karna hi nahi hai, grammar vocabulary karna hi nahi hai. So it's not, because it is no more a case of then it becomes no more a case of selecting one over the other than just rejecting one altogether. मतलब अगर आप CR, PGs और RC पे काम नहीं भी कर रहे हैं, even if you're like just, I don't know, doing something else, not preparing, still you would not like dedicate that time that you have there to grammar and vocabulary questions, right? Preparing, so it becomes more of a case of absolute rejection कि नहीं ये तो नहीं करना, इसमें तो वैसे भी ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है, right? And that's where my disagreement lies, okay? Because on 2 accounts, right? First of all, the numerator part, well, it is much to lose. Why? I don't agree that there is not much to lose. Yeah, it is, in terms of number, it's just 2 marks. Fair enough. Sahi baat hai. But guys, do realize that it's a low scoring exam. And in a low scoring exam, the importance of 2 marks is still substantial. So every single mark matters here. Like it might be the difference between getting a call, not getting a call, converting a call, not converting a call, because your score also plays a role in your final selection. Right, and like you almost have your whole year riding on this, right? So because, well, this is the last exam of the season that can get you into almost the last exam of the season that can get into the most premier of colleges of the country. So yeah, so it is not, I don't agree with the fact that there is not much to lose. There is some substantial, value to lose here in the numerator. So far as the denominator is concerned, yeah, time invested, fair enough. On the face of it, it does seem like, okay, grammar is a very vast topic, and it takes, there's a lot of ground to cover. But, well, how about if we change that? How about if I told you that, well, you don't really need to invest so much time here. Okay, instead of just totally disregarding grammar or skipping grammar preparation, how about you just dedicate 120 minutes and at least ensure that you are thorough with all the grammar rules that have been at least tested in the last, all the previous year's papers of XAT. Okay, and how can we do this? I'll tell you how. Let's suppose if we took, from all the previous year's papers of XAT which are available, right, starting from 2008 until 2021, if someone was to distill all the grammatical rules, each and every grammatical rule that has been tested there, and then further distill them into a short series of 10 sessions, okay, into a short series of 10 sessions, where we talk about one particular error type in each session, right? 10 sessions of 10 minutes or sub 10 minute session, basically 10 minutes or less, right? If we can do that, would that make sense? Right, in that case, it should definitely make sense to invest at least 120 minutes in the next 7 to 8 days, whatever time you have remaining, depending on when you're watching this video, right? It does make sense to invest that amount of time for ensuring that you at least have some chance of getting these 2 marks right? So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so what we've done here, guys, for you is that I'm gonna create a series which will be titled as a practical guide for grammar for the XAT, and there'll be 12 sessions involved here. I'll try to keep most of them to a duration of less than 10 minutes. In few cases, we might have to dedicate a few minutes, and that's why we have this buffer. 10 sessions of 10 minutes amounts to 100 minutes, right? So we have a buffer of 20 minutes, which I might have to use for certain error types, which may require a more detailed explanation, right? For example, as you can see, when in case of errors of parallelism and comparison, we are using 5 minutes of that buffer time. But all in all, I'll try to ensure that the whole duration of all the series, the sum total of all of it, is less than 120 minutes. It's gonna be crisp, it's gonna be quick, it's gonna be to the point. Okay, so if you can do that, well, you can forget about the whole argument of having to leave out that grammar preparation altogether, right? So that, I hope that clears the argument. You don't, on one hand, obviously you should concentrate more on your critical reasoning, paradigms and reading comprehension. I still agree with that. They are more skill oriented. You'll get better returns there. But on the other hand, I also do agree that I also do believe that you can certainly find a way of taking out at least 10 to 15 minutes per day without it affecting your preparation of these more important question types to prepare for grammar. Okay, that's not too much to ask. Okay, especially when the stakes are substantially high. So that's about the series that we're going to come up with. Okay, and finally, my introduction as well as the introduction of the channel. Guys, I'm Anupam Mishra and I'm Lucknow alumnus. I've worked with organizations such as Hotstar, UNICEF, Apollo, IMS, etc. in the past. I've also been an academy educator, recognized by the Johnny Ive Award. I was one of the top VRC educators that they had. My CAT credentials are listed here, and finally, Sluggers is basically my endeavor to fill in all the crucial gaps that exist in the test prep industry so far as the preparation journey of a typical CAT aspirant is concerned. Okay, and Sluggers is about, well, all 3 sections, but Sluggers Blue is just the VRC or the English section handle of Sluggers. Okay, I plan to come up with other handles too for the sections of quantitative aptitude and DILR as well in the near future. So yeah, so stay tuned and subscribe if you found the content here to be useful.